welcome to Ink Master.
Thank you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm the next Ink Master because I bring something different to the industry. Not many people have seen my type of tattooing. I'm out tattooing some people that have been tattooing for 20, so. My name is Aaron Davis. I'm 29 years old, and I'm originally from Florida, but living in Atlanta. I've been tattooing for almost 4 years. My specialty is Afro-Americana. It's basically traditional tattoos, but focusing on Black people, Black culture, and Black history. The style is definitely growing. I coined the phrase because I wanted people to have easier access to be able to find it and really see the style. Now people are able to find so many more artists that are doing this type of style that have been doing it for so long but haven't had the recognition that they really rightfully deserve. Before I started doing tattoos, I was working full-time as a children's book illustrator. I was also in this art show that was at the shop that I was doing my apprenticeship at, doing marketing, doing an interview with the owner. After the interview, I just asked him, what do you require to take on an apprenticeship? He was just like, oh, just come through and learn. I was in there literally immediately. I genuinely didn't even know that I wanted to be a tattoo artist growing up. I just kind of fell into it. I loved getting tattoos. I just never thought that I'd have the opportunity to do it. I've always been an artsy kid. I always loved art. It feels just a warm feeling in my heart. Ink Master really has a big place in my life. During my apprenticeship, I learned a lot about tattooing from Ink Master, a lot about the industry. I'm just happy to be here. Besides taking home the title of Ink Master, I really want to show the world Afro-Americana. I want Black people to feel proud of their skin and know that they can find dope Black tattoo artists to tattoo them. I really just want to show the world just how great we are.
The challenges are great, and I think that there's always been a very aggressive approach to this whole thing, and I think that to just hone in on my tattoos and hone in on fun and showing that you don't have to follow the paved road would be super special to me if I were to become the next Ink Master. I'm Bobby Johnson. Some people know me by Glendale Bully. I'm 35 years old, and I'm from San Diego, California. I've been tattooing for around 13 years. I really like bold things that catch your attention, but it's elegant, fits the body really well. I've always been a super artsy kid. I've always tried to do things a little differently than others. I had a lot of art teachers that would give us assignments, and I would try to approach it as differently as possible. I remember building stuff with rocks, popsicle sticks, drawing all the time. Anything that I could do to create any sort of artwork, I just was always wanting to create. I was still 17 years old, and the guy that I was getting tattooed by said, you know, have you ever thought of tattooing? And I was like, dude, I'm 17. Of course I've thought about tattooing. So he said, come back later tonight. I didn't know what that meant. I came in, he was like, hey, you're gonna go in that room and tattoo yourself, and we'll see how you do. And I was shaking like a leaf. I did a terrible tattoo on myself, and somehow he said, come back tomorrow at 10. The rest is kind of history. I came here to compete, but I also came here to have fun. I want to do both of those things. I want to have a great time. I want to meet some really cool people. I want to do some cool challenges. I want to do some cool tattoos. Who doesn't want to win? I just want to do tattoos and be me.
I hope to survive this competition for as long as humanly possible. That's what I hope for. My name's Brian Black. I'm 36 years old, and I'm from Southern California. I've been tattooing professionally for 9 years, and before that, I was an apprentice for 2 years under Tim Hendricks. Honestly, I look at tattooing like plumbing. I'm down to do whatever the f you want, like what you need, right? Unless it's out of my wheelhouse. If I know that I can't do it, I'll refer somebody. I look forward to doing mostly black and gray stuff, anything from traditional to realistic. But also, I get excited about color tattoos too, but just, I don't do it that much. I'm not artsy at all. I have zero art in my bone. I had to learn how to be an artist. But what drew me to tattooing was getting tattooed and seeing the magic behind tattooing and seeing how intimate that process is that you have with your tattooer. I think it's f***ing cool. I got my first tattoo when I was 18 at True Tattoo in Hollywood, and I got my stomach tattooed by Tim Hendricks, who ended up teaching me how to tattoo. While I did my apprenticeship for 2 years, I got picked up to tattoo in Hollywood at a professional shop and another shop in Dallas for 5 years. My road to competing on Ink Master kind of just part of my journey that I wasn't even aware of. I was presented with the opportunity, and I said, this is gonna suck and gonna be really hard, so I did it. What inspired me to come to compete is the fact that I understand that being uncomfortable is going to result in growth. And as an artist, you want to grow. I don't know if I'm the next ink master or not, but I'm just here to f around and find out.
I don't think that there's been a Vietnamese female on the show before. I love that. I'm ready to jump in and make a splash. Hi, my name is Charlene. I'm 31 and I'm from Orange County, California. A part of my style is really the experience that you get. Something that I think that amplifies your tattoo is the entire process. I want to make sure that your voice is heard and you walk away with a tattoo that you can look back on and be like, wow, that was an amazing time. I will never forget my very first tattoo that I made because it's on a very special person, my husband. I tattooed him 12 years ago, and that's the beginning of my tattoo career. We had just kind of met each other in our first year. So for him to let me tattoo him, that's next level. I was thinking I'm gonna marry the guy, and I did. I have to say that the community that I grew up in really helped to support and lift me up to where I am today. I grew up in Saigon City. It's great Vietnamese food there, lots of great people who are really connected. So how I got my word and business out there was truly through word of mouth, because everybody's all about supporting one another. And I feel so uplifted by that community. It's really special when somebody flies out from the whole other side of the world to get something done by me. It's just so cool to know that parts of my art are just kind of sprinkled throughout everywhere. I want to be on Ink Master to compete against the best because I feel like I am the best. I'm hoping to learn where I stand in this industry. I feel like I'm a strong tattoo artist and that I could win. So I'd really like to put my talent and my effort and ability to the test and compete against the best.
The first tattoo I gave was pretty horrible. I thought I was ready. I gave my friend a tattoo of a rose. It looked like a cabbage. So this is how you learn if you're ready or not. And I took the leap, but it was a bad choice. My name is Dave Patel. I'm 44 years old. I'm from Long Island, New York. My specialty is anything black and gray. I've been professionally tattooing for 7 years. I was an apprentice for a year before that. I've always been an artist. I was a graphic designer for 15 years prior to becoming a tattoo artist. I collect a lot of tattoos. So I was sitting down with an artist getting tattooed, and he kind of gave me the advice that maybe I should pick up a machine and get into the industry. The transition going from a graphic designer to tattooing was, I could say, easy for me because it helped. I can design all my tattoos on the computer in software and then apply it to my clients. I still draw everything by hand, but then I can upload it to the computer and then make tweaks there so I don't have to keep redrawing things. My first tattoo that I got, I was 18 years old. I ran to the tattoo shop. I got some tribal, which I'm removing right now. I grew in the industry by visiting different shops as a guest artist, number one, and then going to different conventions throughout the States. I worked at a shop with Gentle J, and I also worked with Rich Parker, who was on Ink Master. I worked in their shops for a couple of months as a guest artist. Shane O'Neill would be my personal favorite contestant because of how he accomplished every single exercise as a black and gray artist. It's a huge accomplishment to be invited to come to Ink Master, so I can't say no.
I'm the next Ink Master because I am quick to learn and I'm humble. I'm gonna keep my head down and continue to hone my craft, and I can eventually show that I am the best artist there. Hi, my name is David Martinez. I'm 32 years old and I'm from Philadelphia. I've been tattooing for about 4 years. I was an apprentice for about 1.5 years. My specialty is illustrative black work. I feel like there was always a calling to be a tattoo artist, but I didn't really take it seriously until I was graduating from college. I realized that I didn't like graphic design and photography. I have to find out what it is that I wanted, and I knew that I needed to draw. It wasn't just a creative outlet, and so tattooing felt more natural to me. People would look at my drawings and they would tell me to draw on them. All my friends would always be like, oh yeah, when you start tattooing. Like, I didn't say I was gonna start tattooing. So it was almost kind of like, spoken into existence by the people around me. I spent the first year of being an artist just traveling a whole lot. Eventually my mentor, had told me like, hey, you have a very painterly background. you should probably focus on line work or whatnot. That was in the very beginning of my career. And so I developed this entire style that only uses line work to create shading and for composition and whatnot. This style came from wanting to master line work, and then it became basically my signature. What inspired me to compete at Ink Master, it's a lot of pressure, and I understand that under pressure is how you grow. And I'm willing to put myself through that bit of hell to become a better artist. What I'm hoping to learn is all the blind spots that I have. My style is going to be very difficult to judge, but I understand that the judges will be able to point out things that I have not seen in my own tattoos that could be better. My goal as an artist is to be one of the most influential of my time.
I think I'm the next Ink Master because I am very technically good. My name's Freddy, I'm 32 and I'm from the Midlands in the UK. I've been tattooing professionally about 9 years. My specialties are solid color. It's what I do every single day. I think the other artists will assume I can't do good line work because I don't do it in my work, but that's how I started. A really good shop down south of London in Essex was advertising for a space. So I thought I'd try my luck. I got the job and I was working with some amazing tattoo artists in what at the time was the best shop in the UK. I learned loads from all the artists. I was really pushed to be good. And then I actually went tattooing and traveling around Europe. And then I worked with people in like Berlin and stuff. It really opened my mind to like what tattooing can be. I've definitely latched onto my idea of what I think is a good tattoo and what I like and what I'm good at. It's cool to meet so many new artists who also have those experiences in their tattoo career and not being closed off to keep learning. This season, I really just want to showcase my artwork. Back at home, I don't have a huge following, so I don't always get to do what I want to do. I put my spin on things, of course, and my tattoos look like my tattoos, but I don't get free reign. I don't get to like spit an artistic vision out there and just do it on someone. So I'm hoping I at least get one chance to do that.
What sets me apart is just knowing the form of the body and working with the muscle structures and making a tattoo become the person. My name's Glenn Cousin, I'm from the UK and I'm 41 years old. I started tattooing over 20 years, over 2 decades now. My speciality is geometric dot work, where I'm building up dots and creating optical illusions on people's skin. I got brought up as an artist. My dad was an oil painter, so, really inspired by it. I was a hairdresser for a long time. Once I got invited to my first convention, suddenly I've become teachable, everything. I just started absorbing, all these new ideas, just going to all the different countries and seeing different cultures in tattooing. I was invited to Ink Master 2015. At that point in time, I had some young kids. It wasn't the right time, and to be able to come out here onto Ink Master to just inspire my kids, the teenagers, and I want to see them be inspired to do what they want to do and follow their dreams.
It's not just about the tattooing, it's the strategy of it, playing the game. Doesn't matter what you bring to the table, it's how clever you are. And that's why I'm the next Ink Master. I'm Jenica, I'm 38 and I'm from Stoke-on-Trent in the UK. My specialties are ornamental. I like to tattoo anything that is pretty, that flows. Going into tattooing, it wasn't my first choice. I actually wanted to do something with clothing. I think it was about 19, maybe 20, I started making full steel-boned corsets. I thought I was going to go into alternative fashion, but it just didn't work out. At the time, there was only about 3 tattoo studios where I lived. I didn't think I had a chance. I thought, well, if I'm not going to go and get an apprenticeship, I will start to learn tattooing myself. It was a slow start for me. I like learning from other artists, and so I'm very much here to be surrounded by other artists, to push myself a bit further. What better way to do it than to be with a bunch of artists who are exactly after the same thing, and then to come here and then kind of fight it out. I'm confident in my work, but it's about way more than that. It's about playing this game.
Master is a marathon, not a sprint. I'm going to take every challenge day by day, do the best that I can, prove myself that I've got what it takes to be the next Ink Master. My name is Jessica Valentine. I am 40 years old. I'm originally from Long Island, New York, and now I live in Brooklyn. I call my specialty bubblegum traditional. I started in the tattoo industry as a shop girl. I've been tattooing for about 10 years now. However, I really started being a tattoo artist the past 2 years. I feel like that's when I really started to up my game, up my artistry, and not just be a tattooer. My first tattoo was definitely on myself. Before ruining anyone else's skin, I ruined mine. I have wanted to be a tattoo artist since I was about 5 years old. My best friend across the street, her grandfather was covered in Navy tattoos, and I was obsessed. And I was just so entranced by them. So I would scratch my friends on their arm, and then I would go over it with permanent marker. But I would say, it's gonna hurt in real life, so just deal with it. I got in a lot of trouble, and I was then bought washable markers.
What inspired you to come and compete on Ink Master?
I wanted to see if I could do it. And I still can't believe that I got picked to do the show. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. I want to see how I do under pressure. I like challenging myself, and I feel like there is no bigger challenge for a tattoo artist than Ink Master.
I live, eat, breathe art. This competition is made for me, and I am competition. I represent a new artist that isn't this big, buff biker dude. I'm fun and tatted. I'm just a vibe. Hi, my name is Joel Mejia. I'm 25 years old, and I'm from Manteca, California. I've been tattooing about 7 years. My specialty is black and gray realism, or anything with a lot of detail. I'm a very versatile artist, so you never know what you'll see from me. When I was 18 years old, my dad took me to a tattoo convention. I didn't anticipate getting a tattoo, but I sure as hell did. Not long after I got my first tattoo, I actually did my first tattoo. I genuinely thank the internet for the ability to do what I do, because if it weren't for the internet, I don't know if I would have been as successful in terms of just getting my name out there, because it's definitely a grind. Being a tattoo artist is more than just being an artist. You also have to be your own marketing, your own everything. Prior to tattooing, I'm actually a competitive artist. I would compete in school for different scholarships, accolades, different things to get exposure in the art community where I'm at. Growing up in a small town and being able to go to these different Chicano art exhibits really opened my mind to the world that is outside of my small town. I love being surrounded by other creatives and being in that environment. As a Latino artist growing up, being able to be surrounded by other people where you feel culturally appreciated feels very good. So I hold that very near and dear to my heart. What inspired me to come to Ink Master to compete is the fact that I grew up watching this show and that I always saw myself there. And here I am, finally made it. The goal is to win, but what I hope to accomplish is at least showcase who I am as an artist, regardless of what happens. Just be happy with everything that I did.
I'm the next Ink Master because I'm just versatile and I can do cleaner tattoos than anybody else in the room. My name is John Messa. I'm 40 years old. I was born in Dominican Republic, but I'm from New York City, and I've been tattooing for 16 years. I fell into tattooing. I was going to school for graphic design, and I wanted to actually get into fashion. It really hit when I went to my very first tattoo convention, and I got to see tattooers from all over the world there. And then I was like, wow, you can travel the world and be a tattoo artist. And that was it. So from that first tattoo convention, I knew that I wanted to get tattooed by some people in that room, which I did. I asked questions. They all recommended to try to find an apprenticeship. My friend had already offered one. So I went back to that shop, and that's where it all started. My specialty is Japanese tattooing. I was an apprentice, and this girl that would come to the tattoo shop all the time was like, hey, I want you to do your first tattoo on me. I was shaking literally the whole time that I was doing it, just making sure that the lines were super clean. Just the word beauty, and it wasn't even that big. And it took me forever. Back then, it wasn't like nowadays where you can just go to YouTube and find things. You really had to be handed down information from other people with experience. So I moved from shop to shop. They had tattooers that had been tattooing for over 40 years and had a lot of experience. And that's where I really grew a lot as a tattoo artist, learned so much. and just continue to fall in love with the craft. What made me want to compete in Ink Master is just to be able to be in an environment where you're just immersed in your craft. I think that not many people really get that opportunity to really challenge themselves. I'm hoping to accomplish some of the best tattoos that I've ever done in my life and to really keep growing as a tattooer. Ink Master inspired me to just enter this competition, but most of all to do amazing tattoos, and I want to bring that to everybody else.
Why are you the next Ink Master?
Oh God, boy, if you know how many times I answered this question. I'm the next Ink Master because I feel like I have something to show that no one else does. I'm Jazzy Kamacho. I'm 30 years old and I'm from New York. I've been tattooing 11 years now. I specialize in remotely black and gray, lady faces, portraiture, a lot of lettering, and like my own hand-styled calligraphy. I come from a small town. There was only 1 or 2 tattooers. So it seemed like something that was very far out of reach. But I got a really bad tattoo and I was just like, I could do better than this. I started tattooing at about 18 or 19. I bought a bunch of equipment offline and had zero knowledge. And I just kind of went for it. I spent the first couple months tattooing in my house. Back then, you didn't have the accessibility of the internet. You had to buy DVDs or books or buy magazines. It wasn't really accessible to learn. I tried to get apprenticeships and nobody would take me, so I just stuck it out. And then I got into super street shops, 12 hours a day, until I got to where I wanted, until I got to the space where I was becoming recognized. I hope to learn longevity of different styles. I was lucky enough to be able to have been around tattooers who had started tattooing in the 80s, so I learned all the traditional things from building tools. I was inspired to come and compete because I feel like at this point I've touched so many parts of my career. I've opened businesses and closed businesses. I'm so confident in the work that I produce and the that I'm capable of doing. I want the world to see it in a different format from a different kind of contestant. Am I allowed to curse?
No, we can believe
it. Okay. Okay.
I am the next Ink Master because nobody has the creativity and the alternative vision to art that I do. My name is Ladna. I'm 36 years old and I'm originally from Ukraine. I specialize in color and modern color tattooing. So my style I call cosmic colorism because it's a way to use color in a very modern way. So for me, color tells a secondary story about the subject matter. My way to work, it's a little bit not standard. So usually I work with clients, I talk to them, I have consultation, I kind of get their energy, their vibe, their aesthetic, and I kind of design based on that. At the end, in its essence, it's all about just telling my client's story and kind of going through the prism of my artistic perception, but at the end, it's all them. The very first tattoo I got, I was 18 years old or 19, and it was in New York. The first time I walked into the tattoo studio and I kind of see everything and I feel that energy. Even before I get the tattoo, I was like, oh my God, I want to do this, this is so inspiring. So it completely changed my life the very first time I walked into a proper tattoo studio. I think as an artist, for me, competition is the last thing in my mind. I believe art is subjective, but what made me compete, which is so counterintuitive for me in so many ways, I wanted to show that I am capable to prove to myself, and more than anything, to prove to my son that, that you can believe in your dreams. I wanted for it to be documented for my son that, if you believe in your dreams, you can be anything, you can achieve anything. So for me, that was the primary inspiration.
Pussyfoot around me a lot. All I hear is, oh, good job, that's amazing, you can't change anything. I want to be in an environment where people say, this looks like we're gonna lose with this. I haven't been critiqued in a while and I really feel like I need it. My name is Sydney Dyer. I am 33 years old and I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I've been tattooing for 10 years, which is crazy. That's a third of my life. I've been in the tattoo industry itself since I was 15. I started volunteering in high school. It's just something that I really wanted to get into. I always get asked, what is your style? And I say, well, it's vintage girly. A lot of very fine lines, a lot of beadwork, a lot of circles, a lot of designs that I hold my breath in order to pull correctly, and that stress everybody else out around me. The first tattoo I gave was to a really good friend of mine. We had been friends since high school and we ended up apprenticing at the same shops. I think we weren't even allowed to do the tattoo. We stayed later than we should have and kind of snuck around being the bad kids and did a tattoo after hours. I was always the weird art kid. We would have little stupid drawing contests, whoever dropped the best bookmark would win whatever, and I always found myself winning. So for me, I really wanted to be a traveling tattooer. I thought, what better way to learn than, oh, my favorite tattooer is in London, England. So I'm gonna fly there, learn from them and just kind of journeying around and really following who you think is an inspiration, somebody that you think you can learn from, and just being a really go-getter in the industry. What inspired me to come on Ink Master is just the next thing to do. What better thing to do than putting yourself out there artistically and being so vulnerable in front of millions of people. What I hope to accomplish this season is just being my best version of myself, seeing if I can work under pressure, if I can survive with the big dogs, just really going for it and being able to prove to people that I really actually have what it takes to be here.